Post YCS, post crossover breakers, post ban list thoughts. Holy crap, there's been so much. So make sure you guys smash the crap out that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So we're going to start off with crossover breakers over here. So crossover breakers hit this weekend, and holy crap, it has been a ride out here. Ryzel really proved its place in the meta. You had people out here calling, Dreadnought or Dead Namer. They're like, don't worry, bro, don't worry. This deck will do nothing in the meta. All right, Ryzel's just, it's all hype, all right? Trust me, all right? You can play Fiendsmith, you can play, which, end up being true, but you could play Tenpai, you could play, Snake Eyes. Don't worry, man. All of these decks will be fine. You'll do just fine in the meta. No, they didn't, all right? Tenpai was the one that had the most success out here because that deck is ignorant and does not give a frick about what's going on with this. So, on top of crossover breakers literally just destroying this meta in terms of expectations out here, these price points, as I'm assuming you guys saw this morning on Market Watch, are nothing to laugh at either. The highest rarity stuff is going crazy. Konami really did the one thing that I was worried that they were going to do. They made this list to promote crossover breakers. Crossover breakers was the line in the sand. They said, we're getting rid of these old decks. So now, worst case scenario, I told you guys that you wanted to try to play Tenpai. You wanted Konami not to hit those decks. And now the bar has been raised even higher for Tenpai. Or even higher for Ryzel and the challengers around it. So, which is going to be a very bad thing out here for the next couple of months. So that's crossover breakers did everything that it needed to do. Konami wanted to print money. They wanted to print this opportunity, and now it's bad. Fiendsmith. Hi Fiendsmith. How are you? So one of the craziest innovative decks out of the weekend actually ended up being Fiendsmith Ryzel. Innovation. I'm gonna clap for that again. The fact that Fiendsmith Ryzel was able to do this really cool thing with, the Exciton Knight, and they were able to basically do full Fiendsmith combo off of a normal summon Ice, make Exciton Knight, make Requiem, and then go into combo. My little brain didn't think about that. All right, I'm not going to lie. I think the Fiendsmith cards were something that a lot of people were really expecting to see get cratered. They didn't expect them to stick around. But the other thing is, now that Fiendsmith did stick around, it's now adapted itself into the best deck out here. So now you got another problem. The Fiendsmith stuff just happened to invert itself into the meta. Oh boy. So where do we go from here with the Fiendsmith stuff? I think you've got a lot of Fiendsmith variations sticking around. Obviously, Fiendsmith Ryzel is going to be one of your better variants, but you've also got your Kashtira version. You have pure Fiendsmith out here that's adapting, these 20-plus hand traps. In combination with, Kashtira as well. Maybe you want to play some Kashtira Ryzel or Kashtira Fiendsmith. You have Yubel Fiendsmith. Like, this package is everywhere, man. Like, the Fiendsmith stuff is, the fact that they left Engraver alone is so crazy. Like, actually nuts. So, yeah, the Fiendsmith package, I think, is going to continue to be a problem. I don't think anybody out here is going to really comprehend this until things go on, but your two engines right now are Ryzel and Fiendsmith. Yay. So, what are my thoughts on the rest of this ban list cratering this? Because, crossover breakers and Fiendsmith are the two highlights. So, this ban list did what I was fearful was going to happen. When I was looking at this meta, I was hoping that Konami wouldn't take the destructive approach to hitting Tenpai, to hitting Snake Eyes, and to hitting Yubel. Because those three decks, to me, were the only three challengers that could come close to actually keeping up with Ryzel. So now that you have taken these three decks, the former tier 1s, and you have crushed them down, nothing below them moves up. That's where our problem lies. Ryzel will now sit at the top of this pinnacle out here as this basically undisputed monster. And the only two times that you're going to have challenges to this are going to be Supreme Darkness, which we already know is going to not do hardly anything. It might put White Forest as Amina on the map, depending on what we can expect. And then Maze of Memories will be your next check. Like, that's it. Those are your next two big changes in this meta. Now, maybe Catapult FTK will do something out here, but you're still 3 months away from that actually happening. Realistically, I think this meta is going to be dog shit. Just because I have a deck that I like to play doesn't mean that other people aren't going to be happy. Now, I think everybody uniformly across the board here agrees that Tenpai, Chandra needed to get out of the game. I think that's fine. I think we all uniformly agree with that. That was a good choice. Phantom of Yubel also was just too good of a card. While I personally don't think we needed to really do anything to Yubel, the problem with Phantom was when you have this resource that literally puts cards back in your deck, special summons itself, acts as a negate, gets another Yubel back on the field, and to top things off, can act as an Exceed / a link material, and you can summon more than one per turn. Like, come on, man. Like, on principle, we need to check that card. All right, like, that's a lot. No one card should be able to do that many things. All right, so I'm sorry, Yubel players. I'm sorry, but, like, that's a lot of utility that one card should not be allowed to have. So I'm okay with Phantom going to 1. OSS going, I'm glad to see that we can still play Wanted and Dia Bellstar. I'm glad to see that the TCG didn't take Wanted out back. OSS was always the correct hit. The only problem here is unfortunately by hitting this, we've disconnected every fire deck from the Matrix now. So, you can't do Infernoid, you can't do TG stuff. OSS was a very cool card in design. They looked at the card and they said, hey, every deck that has access to a level 1 fire can now play this Dia Bellstar package and they can put these monsters on the field. Unfortunately, that package became so crazy powerful and so splashed as every line of support you printed for it was just an issue on top of an issue on top of an issue. So I don't really blame Konami for finally getting rid of that pesky line of, BS that we were dealing with. It should have happened much sooner. But overall, those are your major hits. Like the Dragon Rollers returning back to the game are just fine. It's very clear now that your two major competitors are everything Ryzel oriented underneath the sun. You have Ryzel Fiendsmith and Pure Ryzel. You're going to have two camps for these decks. That's not going to change. All right. And then you're going to have people that want to play the Malice Tax out here. They want to have, max ready waifus. Whether or not Malice ends up being a good deck, I think Malice will just have severely good representation. It also depends on how much Lancia sees play. Lancia kind of is that heart and soul out here of, if Lancia sees no play, well, congratulations. You can see this uptick. And the other big thing out here is Shifter. Shifter is, I think, kind of like the last unknown tier out here. Everybody wanted Shifter gone on this list, all right, but it didn't go, which obviously has made a lot of people very unhappy. And I don't really necessarily blame them on that, but you've got a lot of people are going to be not happy with this list. And I'll talk about that a little bit more another day. But Konami really just straight said, hey, you have to buy our new product if you want to play the game. Yeah, cool, we just printed it SP. Hey, it's available. Congratulations. Still got to go pick up Maul Charmies, and you still got to go pick up, your Ryzel core. You got to go pick up Malice if you want your waifus. And the crazy part is these decks haven't even gotten support yet. Like, that's the craziest thing about this. When these sets get their second, third waves of support, it's going to be rough. But that's my post-YCS thoughts out here. And all of this other craziness, it's not going to be very fun. That's for sure. So please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace.
Patrons, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.